You're listening to Financial Advisor Marketing, the best show on the planet for financial advisors who want to get more clients without all the stress. You're about to get the real scoop on everything from lead generation to closing the deal. James is the founder of theadvisorcoach.com, where you can find an entire suite of products designed to help financial advisors grow their businesses more rapidly than ever before. Now, here is your host, James Pollard.
Hello, financial advisors. I'm glad you're here. Welcome to Financial Advisor Marketing, where I'm helping you get more clients with less stress. I am, as you all probably know by now, based on my nice introduction, that I'm James Pollard from theadvisorcoach.com. And one of the things that I specialize in, one of the things that I help advisors do is prospect and become better prospectors. I help them get more clients. And one of the biggest parts of getting more clients as a financial advisor is becoming better at your prospecting. And prospecting's tough. You know, I'm not going to make any bones about it. Prospecting can be difficult. A lot of people don't like it. I don't want to sugarcoat it or anything, but it is necessary to build a business, especially if you're new. Yet there are a lot of things you can do to make it less painful. And prospecting is kind of like the thing you have to go through at first, at least at first, in order to build your book of business. Because if you're following me and you're following the stuff I teach and how I help financial advisors, you know that one of the things that I talk about is going out and getting clients while at the same time building a machine to have those clients come to you. And that's one of the biggest things you can do to transform your business. I talk about that in detail in Financial Advisor Marketing Mastery. That's my course. It's got like 17 videos, over 11 hours of content. You can check that out at theadvisorcoach.com. But that's essentially it. But it doesn't negate prospecting. It doesn't mean you stop prospecting. It does not mean that you stop looking for clients. I'm not your magic pill, not your silver bullet. And it just doesn't exist. And I see financial advisors falling for this all the time. Like some people will pop up, like they don't last very long, but some people will pop up and they'll be a brand new coach or consultant or something like that. And they will promise financial advisors more clients without prospecting. It doesn't go too well, Jonathan.
I bet.
They realize after spending money, and usually the gurus that pop up, they don't offer a money back guarantee. So if there's no money back guarantee, especially if it's a digital product, that should be a red flag. Now, there are some people that don't need guarantees. There are some people who are positioned so well and who have proven themselves so well that they don't need guarantees. But if this hot shot, I should say, comes on the market and promises a financial advisor a way to get more clients without prospecting, or says that prospecting is completely unnecessary and tries to sell you this course for $5,000 and doesn't offer a money-back guarantee, and I've actually seen that.
Really?
Yes, I've seen it. And the financial advisors, they fall for it. And I know I could probably make a lot more money if I made that claim that you didn't need the prospect, or that I have some secret method to get more clients without prospecting. I know as a marketer, strictly speaking from a marketing standpoint, I could probably make a killing, but I'm not going to do it. It makes me uncomfortable. I hate when people do it. It makes me queasy, nauseous. It's wrong to tell financial advisors that you could do it without prospecting. It really is wrong. And there's a quote by sales trainer Jeffrey Gitomer. So I think he wrote like the Little Red Book of Selling, like the sales Bible. Anyway, the quote is, "Proper prospecting prevents poverty."
I like that.
Yeah. If for all you financial advisors that didn't get that, I'm going to do a lot of popping sounds again, like the P's. Proper prospecting prevents poverty. So if you don't want poverty, you got to prospect. But not only do you have to prospect, you have to prospect properly. Wow, that's like a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Proper prospecting. In order to become a better prospector, you must do it properly. And in order to do it properly and make prospecting suck less, what you want to do is you want to block out time for it once a week. No, that doesn't sound right. Once a month? No, still not right. You want to make sure you block out time for prospecting every single day. Every day. And one of the hardest parts about prospecting is the mental part. And I know in a previous episode, Jonathan, we talked about the limiting beliefs and the mental stuff, and people struggle with it. And it's true with prospecting as well. The people, they psych themselves out about it. They think it's harder than it actually is. Or they say, if this person rejects me, he's rejecting me as a human being and everything I stand for. He's rejecting my soul or something. And you can fix this. I mean, not entirely, but you can fix a lot of this by blocking out a time every single day where you're going to prospect, because it does get easier. And I know it's easy for me to say that because I prospected. I made thousands of prospecting calls, and it does get easier. If you're a new financial advisor, or maybe you're an old financial advisor, and you just don't prospect for whatever reason, maybe somehow you've survived without prospecting. I don't know. But if you just do it every day, like where it becomes a habit, it does become easier. And one of my inner circle members, if you're not a member of my inner circle, please get it. Go to theadvisorcoach.com/newsletter. It's a monthly print and ink newsletter, goes directly to your door, chock full of marketing information that can change your life, seriously. And one of my inner circle members blocks out a time from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. every single day, Monday through Friday, as prospecting time. So he does nothing else. Like the only thing he does is prospect. And guess what? He's pretty darn successful. So
he's in that 10%.
Yeah, pretty in the 10%. Yeah, they make all the money. So, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because in a previous episode I talked about how a handful of financial advisors are essentially making all the money. Well, I've noticed something interesting, and I'm stroking my non-existent beard here, and I noticed that only a handful of financial advisors prospect consistently. So there might be a connection there. And I'm not a scientist or anything. I'm not in academia, and I'm not in an ivory tower. But it appears to me that if a handful of financial advisors are prospecting, and those people are making a bunch of money, and only a handful of financial advisors even make a bunch of money to begin with, it seems that prospecting and income are pretty strongly correlated. Right, Jonathan?
It would appear that way.
It would appear that way. Now, you can use time blocking for other stuff. You don't have to use it just for prospecting. You can use it for your follow-up. And another inner circle member of mine, he uses a different block. I think it's at the end of the day for follow-up. Now, I don't know if he could be successful blocking it out at a certain time of day or earlier in the mornings, because his situation is a little different. But he blocks out time for follow-up. And then another inner circle member, actually, I'm sure there are more inner circle members that do this, but these are the people that have told me. Like, I know for sure that this is what they're doing. One guy only does appointments on Thursdays and Fridays. So nice. He blocks out his entire days for appointments. And that's brilliant, because he has all his stuff prepared. His receptionist is ready. His assistant is ready. Actually, I don't think he has an assistant, but he does have a receptionist. His receptionist is ready. They just bring people in. He's got the files. He's got the notes. He's got the emails. He knows what he's doing. He just does one appointment after another, after another, after another. And it's extremely efficient. And when you batch these things together, and practicing what I preach here, Jonathan and I, we have let the cat out of the bag. We record these podcast episodes in bunches.
What?
There's a reason. Why do we do this, Jonathan?
Because we like spending time together.
We like spending time together, but on some level, it's much more efficient. Just knock them out, get it all done. I don't have to set up the microphone. I don't have to get my special computers with the dual monitors that I got for Christmas. Thank you very much, my lady. And I don't have to set all this stuff up. I set it once, and I record the podcast, and we get it done. So make sure you do that. That's how you can make prospecting suck less, is by just blocking it out. It does get easier. It's not easy to start with, but it does get easier. The second thing, what you want to do in order to make prospecting suck less, is you want to have a specific person in mind. I know I keep hammering this point about a target market, having a niche, but it's really applicable in prospecting, because when you are going after a certain type of person, eventually you discover what to say, how to say it, when to call, the right time to approach with an appointment, the right questions to ask about finances, not just general questions, but like specific financial questions. You start to figure all this out. So you start to figure out what works and what doesn't. And when that happens, and there's no shortcut here. I wish there was something I could tell you where like, oh yeah, every time you're working with dentists, do this. Or every time you're working with nurses, do this. I wish I had that, because if I did, I would package it up and I would sell it to you. I mean, people got to pay for the good stuff. That's just the truth. And I wish I had it, but I don't.
Hey, financial advisors. Are you ready to take your business to the next level and get more clients with less stress? I invite you to join the James Pollard Inner Circle, a paper and ink newsletter that gets delivered directly to your door every month. When you join now, you'll also get a 90-minute instant download called 5 Keys to Success for Financial Advisors, a $97 value for absolutely free. All you have to do is head over to theadvisorcoach.com/newsletter and join today.
But I will tell you that when you figure this out, because, dentist in New York City might be different from dentist in Nowheresville, Kansas. Just different nuances for every single market. But when you figure out what those nuances are, it becomes a lot easier. And most financial advisors are generalists. So they're going from a prospecting phone call, to someone who's just retired, then a prospecting call to a corporate executive, then a prospecting call to a single mom who doesn't have much money, or as much as their minimum. And it requires a lot of energy, and there's a lot of frustration there, and it's avoidable, because if you turn yourself into like a machine kind of, where you're only just repeatedly going after a certain type of person, you can just plug and play pretty much. And you can turn essentially, and this is not like scientific, this is not a scientific explanation, but this is what I've experienced. You can essentially like turn off the section of your brain that is like freaking out and trying to think about every sentence and what the person is going to say and what you can say after that. Because if you're working with the same group of people and you're making 50 calls a day, after like a month, you're going to have it like, you're going to be robotic about it. And then all you have to worry about is not sounding robotic. I mean, that's really it. Like, you start to know, and you start to pick up on all the subtleties. And anyone who's ever done martial arts, if you just practice the same move again and again and again, and you spar with people again and again and again, you know when someone is going to make a certain move. Like, you pick up on it. And that's how prospecting is, when you have a particular person in mind. Next thing I want to talk about.
Real quick, what just occurred to me there, because a little while back you talked about having a better story and being able to tell a story. And now that you're talking about this target market over and over again, what it makes me think of is every story needs a hero. And if you don't have that target market, you haven't figured out who the hero of the story is. How can you tell them how they win or lose with you?
Of course. And that's a great point, because in financial services, and I'm talking about the United States here. So I know I've got people in South Africa and Australia and Ireland and England and China, and I don't know the laws of every single country and how all the different things work. Like, I just don't, because I'm not in every country. But in the United States, you can't use testimonials at all. Like, people can't endorse you on LinkedIn. They basically cannot give you any form of testimonial. However, from what I can understand, and make sure that you check with the compliance always and check your company policy. I'm not directly giving you advice, but what you can do is tell a story. You can use like a case study. You can even use statistics and facts. So if you say, well, teachers who save this amount of money per year generally are better off than teachers who don't save any money, or teachers who have a 403B and max it out every year, or corporate executives who have a 401k and they max it out every year and they take advantage of the match. These people tend to do well. So when you do that, you're essentially making your niche market and the people who follow your advice really the hero of that story. So if you're talking to someone and you give them a story with the hero in it, and the hero just happens to take the advice that you offer, and kind of got to read between the lines of what I'm saying here, all of a sudden they aspire to be like that hero. And that's like with almost any story really that's ever been told. There's someone there, there's a main character that people want to be or not be.
Good stuff.
So you want to have that story. It is very important. But another thing you can do to make prospecting suck less is you can focus on referral marketing.
We need a drum roll there.
Drum roll, referral marketing. I know it's not sexy. It's not it's not this new hip happening thing. And it's boring. But the boring stuff, and the boring stuff makes the most money. And I've noticed that in business too. I used to, I don't want to say I've lived in an area, but I rented in an area for a very brief period of time where there were a lot of tech startups. And there were a lot of young entrepreneurs or people who thought they were entrepreneurs. They were focusing on apps and technology, and all that's great. Like, I like it. Like, I use pretty fancy marketing software myself. I get pretty detailed when it comes to software, and I like to say that I'm on the cutting edge of stuff. However, most of these people were broke. They had no money. But the person who owned like 10 dry cleaning places was just rolling it in. Or the person who owned gas stations, or the person who owned like construction equipment rental, stuff that like you wouldn't even think of, like the boring stuff. These people were like multi-millionaires. I'm sure you've experienced that, Jonathan.
Sure. Simple things people need.
Right. You focus on a need, you fill it, and referrals. It is pretty boring, but it's one of the most effective forms of prospecting you can have as a financial advisor, because other people do it for you. The problem is that it's virtually impossible to only do referral marketing and grow a large business. Like, it cannot be your only thing. You cannot be a one-trick pony as a financial advisor. It used to work. It worked in the 70s. It worked in the 60s. It worked in the 80s. It used to work. You could just smile and dial all day and make a great living. But it doesn't work anymore. Having one marketing strategy does not work. You have to do some other stuff before you can get a lot of referrals coming in. I mean, really crank it up. You can get a trickle of referrals, but you'll never make it rain referrals. You'll never get a flood unless you do other things, unless you prospect, unless you build the book of business, unless you build your strategic alliances. You have to have multiple sources, multiple flows. And if you're interested in getting more referrals, please make sure you check out 51 referral marketing tips for financial advisors. It's one of my favorite products. It's one of my best-selling products too, but it's one of my favorite products because it's just down-to-earth advice that can just help financial advisors. You can read it. It's a PDF that you download. You read it on your computer screen. You could print it out. Now, I know most financial advisors that actually implement the advice, they're the ones that are printing it out. And it kind of let me know maybe I should do a printed version, but what these people are doing is they're printing it out, they're taking notes, they're highlighting some of the most important things, and they're immediately, not tomorrow, not next week, immediately applying it to their business and seeing results. So if that sounds like something you want to do, go to theadvisorcoach.com, and it's either the products tab or there's a tab called referrals. You click on that and just get 51 referral marketing tips. So that can help out a lot of financial advisors, Jonathan. I know I plug a lot, but it's because I'm coming from a good place. My heart's in the right place.
Yeah, of course. You'd be doing them a disservice if you didn't tell them they could get this.
I 100% believe that. And as a financial advisor, you are doing other people a disservice if you don't prospect. I want you to understand this. If you don't go out to your market and let them know you exist, you're available, you can help them, you can change their life, you are doing them a disservice. It's like if you have the cure for cancer and you just keep it locked away, and there are people out there with cancer, and you can help them. I would say if someone did that, that person would be a scumbag. Yeah, and in all seriousness, really, if that's kind of like what it is, you have the cure for people's financial woes. And people who have these people wouldn't have money trouble. A lot of these people are wealthy, but these people, their problem is that they want more money. They want security. They want safety. They want their children to be happy. This is what they want, and you have the cure. So if you're not going out and prospecting and giving these people what they desperately want and need, I don't want to say a bad person, but it's pretty close. Pretty close. So,
greedy little pig.
I do want to recap here. I'm not going to act like prospecting is this magical, wonderful thing, because it's not. But you got to do it to grow your business. And a lot of these gurus and coaches, they'll tell you that you could just flip a switch, have clients coming to you. It just doesn't work that way. You have to work hard. Well, you don't have to work hard. I shouldn't really say that. But you do have to do stuff. You do have to put a little work in to build your business. But prospecting, it's the fuel for your business engine. So if you want to grow fast, you need lots of fuel. So that's what prospecting is. It's the fuel of your business. And make sure you fill her up.
James, what is coming up next time?
Next time, I'm going to pull a little hard on the heartstrings for curiosity here. And it's going to be the 4-letter word I despise. And I'm not going to reveal what that word is, but it's a terrible word. It's a terrible 4-letter word, and it makes my skin crawl. And it's so bad that sometimes, not always, but sometimes when someone on my email list uses this word, and actually I got someone who used it yesterday, I block them and I blacklist them. It's that bad.
All right. So that is a wrap for another one. We'll be back in your earbuds next time. Thanks for tuning in.
This is the podcastfactory.com.